yes, there are learnings through my kids which I think are much more valuable. Hopefully, I'll keep the learning going and ensure that I learn from them. And I'm also able to understand where it's coming from. There are times when they sit back and there's a small check-in points with them. I tell them, hey, what do you think about it? Just to ensure what are my kids thinking? Because yes, they know fewer things better than me, but what about have I instilled the things that I wanted in them? Have I given them the learning that they as an individual would take it further, understand good versus bad? Because it's not, people would say it's black and white. It isn't. It's there is tons of gray area. We have adults, we need to understand and actually teach our kids to be adaptable as they are growing, because I don't know how future would be. Even as I am learning now, I know there are a lot of grays which I'm not able to understand. I make my mistakes. I learn from them. I make a mistake. I reflect upon it. I'm like, where possible you go correct yourself. That's what you need to teach your kids.
So hi Sula, how are you?
You're doing good, Sanjana. Thanks for having me here today.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was great to have you. So I just want to ask you a question. How was settling down in America for you?
Thank you, Sanjana. I know it kind of gets me a rush of memories that I have thought about. So 18 years back was when I got married and I came to US for the first time. I would say the first reaction wasn't what you would want. I was raised in Bombay. It was one of the places where you would always be around crowd. I would say you'll always see a smiling face. You'll always see somebody whom you recognize from somewhere. That was how my life had been. So if I go in a room, I would always smile. I would get a return faces full of smiles.
Yeah.
And when I landed,
known faces.
yes, known, unknown strangers doesn't matter. That's me. I would just smile no matter what. And it just, even if it was a smaller percentage that returned, it would just make my day. I thought that my day is accomplished when I get a smile on someone else's face, and in return, I get the same reciprocation. It's a journey. Life is a journey. No matter where you go, it could be a room full of your friends, classmates, no matter what.
And there's always a percent who
Yes,
responds back.
always. And that's enough, because I feel that is good, because maybe I have ensured that someone else who thought of smiling or maybe not smiling would smile the next time.
Yes.
So that is my motto towards life. Just make it easier on you, easier on people around you. Just make your life worthy for others as well. So being that, coming to US, I wasn't sure about the culture. I wasn't aware of what would be the etiquettes. For me, coming from here, first and foremost, I realized that there were a lot fewer people around me. So I wasn't able to relate. And I remember my first reaction would be, how soon can we go back? And my husband told me, you know what, just give it a year and I promise you'll never want to go back. And guess what? He was so true to his word. I remember maybe about 6 months into it, I remember having a great life, full of friends. It was always the kind I wanted to be around. No matter where I went, I had my friends, I had my backing, and I just felt like home. I know I did not have a lot of my relatives back here. My husband did a bit, but they're all spread apart. It's not like you're going to open your door and you're going to meet somebody whom you're going to...
Yes.
No. But that was nice. I think when we looked around family or for friends, for me, friends were my source of energy. And they taught me, God, how many things. I can't even tell you. I did not learn a single thing coming back from there. My parents pampered me to the core. And I never thought that it would be that important. But being in US taught me to be very, very independent. Extremely independent. Do your chores, get your things done. And maybe marriage also happened at the same time. So there were two different new things that I was handling at the same time. But luckily for me, I think between all of these things, so much of support, everybody was so friendly. I can't even tell. I never felt like I met them for the first time in my life. It would be just a small bit of conversation. I know how many times I was taken to places where I thought I might be out of place. But within few minutes, everybody around me would be talking to me in a way that they have known me forever. So
And
that,
that's also got to do with you, I think,
thank
because you
you.
reflect you reflect that kind of positivity, and that also helps, I feel.
That
Yeah.
would be one thing, but I think I was blessed too, Sanjana. I would not take the credit to myself, but I would say that I was blessed with people around me who were giving themselves. And for me, that first 1 year was a huge period of adjustment. I took up a career which was new altogether because my education was back in India, did my MBA in finance. So getting a job here and finding out, even before I got something, I just started with the pro bono because I felt that I should do something so that I'm engaged and I ensure that I can meet more people and learn more. So that kind of gave me that background. And but I would say that there are things settling in. It is not easy, but it is learning. I feel that every day I learned something. I took it back in my mind. I'm like, how do I change the way I think and make it better and comfortable for everybody around me? After all, it's I shouldn't be the one to change everything around me, but I should be the one to adjust around it and maybe get your own little change.
Yeah.
So, but
Reflection, time to reflect.
yes.
So were there any challenges you remember while you were?
I would say that there were few, not so much with a lot of communication or stuff, but it was a different culture. So I did not understand the space parameter because for me, I felt it was okay to be to be around. I mean, I think I learned definition of space more importantly. I understood that people need their space even when we are around a store or for that matter, understand. So that was a major challenge for me. And for me, coming from a country or a place which was so full of people, we never, yes, we never understood the space
Concept of,
definition.
yeah.
Yes, so that was a major challenge. I remember how many times I stopped myself and I'm like, okay, give them some space. I would say that was the major challenge. None of that other things that really mattered. It was a
Raising your
smaller.
kids here was that a little challenging? Or?
It felt lot more easier than I would have expected.
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Because I thought being a mother felt like somebody who had to be super strict. But did understand that more goes to understanding and talking to them. But I would still say my journey as a mother is still ongoing. I have difficult teens now that I have to raise. Now I can see the struggle. But when they were young, I thought it was very simpler. It was a lot more simpler. I would tell them something, I'll help them out with something, and they would come to me for every small thing. Now is the phase I would think that I need to understand and I need to learn from others. How do I do it right?
Yeah. Especially when they have some mood
Yes.
swings and everything.
And also, I think sometimes, Sanjana, they have better ideas than me. I would not, I mean, I would want to say that I know better than my kids, but no, not on every aspect. Sometimes they get me a fresh thought. And maybe at that moment, I would be like super angry at them and think that, hey, I know better. But I take the time, yes, I take the time to reflect. And I'm like, okay, I did say something to him, but what did he tell me? What did he teach me today? Oh, yeah, he did tell me something. That was I mean, I think I am relearning as an adult, even with my kids right now. Maybe I think I have opened up my mind much more. And also time to reflect upon how difficult I would have been to my parents growing up. But I hope I wasn't as difficult. But yes, there are learnings through my kids which I think are much more valuable. Hopefully, I'll keep the learning going and ensure that I learn from them. And I'm also able to understand where it's coming from. There are times when they sit back and there's a small check-in points with them. I tell them, hey, what do you think about it? Just to ensure what are my kids thinking? Because yes, they know fewer things better than me, but what about have I instilled the things that I wanted in them? Have I given them the learning that they as an individual would take it further, understand good versus bad? Because it's not, people would say it's black and white. It isn't. There is tons of gray area. We have adults, we need to understand and actually teach our kids to be adaptable as they are growing, because I don't know how future would be. Even as I am learning now, I know there are a lot of grays which I'm not able to understand. I make my mistakes. I learn from them. I make a mistake. I reflect upon it. I'm like, where where possible you go correct yourself. That's what you need to teach your kids.
Yeah.
Maybe it wouldn't be the best thing that you do, but ensure that you take corrective actions
Like
to
be
fix it.
open-minded, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
be open-minded. Just make sure that if there is something that you can learn from somebody, always be open, because everybody would give you a learning, no matter how big, how, and you become a better individual by just being open-minded, just ensuring you learn all the time. So I think when I talk to my kids, that is one thing that I do reflect upon, because finally I think, I know it's an age-old thing. I wouldn't remember the quote exactly, but they tell you that you haven't achieved anything if your kids aren't there where you want them to be. You can do tons of things for themselves, for them, for material point of view or whatever, right? But if you have not raised the right kids who would be a great individual in the society, then you haven't achieved anything. So the focus should be there. At times I do wonder, am I good enough to teach them right? But nonetheless, I'll take what I understand, I know, and I learn every day to them to ensure that they take correct actions according to the society that they are in. Things would change. We see
Being
them
like a
change.
sponge, you know.
Yes,
Kind of absorbing
absolutely.
things.
Absorb as you go, learn and be there. That's,
Yeah.
I would think that would be the best thing I would have done for my kids if, I mean, if I'm not there around them, or even for that matter, 3 years, 4 years from now, they'll be headed out to college. I can't be there to make their decisions. All I can trust them is what I have taught them and expect that they will take it further and just be the kind of people that they can be.
That's so important. And as you said, you know, you always had an open mind, communicating with them,
True.
which was, I think, most important, right? And being a good listener, right? That's
Absolutely.
what you always say, that you kind of ask them, like, okay, what do you think about it,
Yes.
right? So you listen to their thoughts and what are their views on different things, right?
True.
So anything, any aha moments that you feel like coming to this country, that something you want to like brag about, like something.
Moments, I would say that there would have been some as I am doing. I mean, for us, me and my husband, the life together, I had a different perspective of togetherness before I met him. So for me, as we were growing older, or we are growing older together, there are times when I don't. I'm like, today is the day when I'm the happiest of all. And it could be as simple as he doing something for me, or for that matter, I know my kids have done something. But in the recent moments that I could definitely say is, I love my kids the way they are independent. I would really want them to be that way. Maybe they learn something from us, or maybe it's on their own, but there are times that they want to do things on their own. My younger one, my older one would be like, I know my son would, I think 3 years back or 4 years back, that was the first time I realized my son loves skiing to a certain extent that he would be on the slopes for 7 hours without taking a break. And Sanjana, I would feel bad. I'm like, I'm standing right there. I'm worried. What if he's thirsty? What if he's hungry? And my husband keeps telling me, hey, if somebody is passionate about something, that's how you see passion. And I have
Hunger
seen
and the
nothing,
thirst goes away.
nothing impacts him. He's on the slopes enjoying himself. I would always be worried, hey, why aren't you in a group activity? Why aren't you in a sport? But I think that is wrong to expect somebody to, maybe I'm expecting a standard, profile from him. But I realize that he has his moments and he does it so well that I cannot. And I have been told never compare your kids. So this is my older one. But with my younger one, he strives to be better every single day, and I wonder where it comes from. And he's like, today is a new day. I'm like, Mama, can I do this? So the most recent one that I am very proud of him about was making the trip all by himself to meet his grandparents. I told him, hey, we just did it 6 months back. Mom is not going to be with you, so I'm worried for you. You would miss me. And he was like, no, Mama, I will miss you. But here's the thing, I want to do it for myself. I want to spend time with family, and B, I want to be able to do it all by myself with least assistance. And being a mother, I wanted to make sure that he was safe in every way he was. But you know what? I think we forget the part that they are mini adults. They are learning, and if we don't give them that opportunity to learn,
right?
yes, they will never know it. How would they know how well they are in it? If we don't, as parents, after knowing what they are capable of, not letting them do it. Yes, there are fears even now, but I think he's got his backing. He's got family back in India. He will
And
manage
he has
it.
the confidence to do it.
Yes, and I know if anything goes wrong, he will be able to manage it. He is not going to be worried sick in a way that he calls me and he says, Mama, what should I do? That's not him. He will figure it
And
out.
that's the younger one?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I think everybody has their own.
I'm already proud of him. I can
Thank you,
sense it.
Sanjana. I know I was worried, but I thought, I think as parents, we were worried. But then I realized that give them the space, let them be themselves. Yes, if anything happens, maximum what I will have to do, I'll have to fly immediately to go after him, and which is okay, right? I mean, there's nothing holding you back really
Yes.
on what to do, what not to do. So, based on that, I think I think everybody, for that matter, should let others do what they want to do, and you never know, wonders would be there waiting for you at the other end.
That is so important. I think most of us try to, like, control and,
Yes.
don't take the
And
control
also
away
protect,
from.
right? Protect.
Yeah. And too much protection. Always,
Yes. And I think somewhere the protection is the thing. We think it's parenting, or not only parenting, it's only for our spouse also, right? We want them to be okay. We don't want them to get into any trouble without, yeah. But I think love is all right. It's a combination of everything. Let them have their own space. I think
Letting it
space
go a little bit,
is something that I have to learn, and I'm still learning, Sanjana, that space is essential for growth. Otherwise you feel shut out. You can't grow. It's like a plant, right? You give
It's like
them
the me
room.
time, right?
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, I think these are few things in life, and it changes my perspective towards things. Maybe when I was younger, for me, a lot of things were about me. Now, as I'm growing older, and I understand there are people around me who are depending on me, not only depending, but around me looking for that growth. Am I giving them that growth?
Yeah.
That makes my day.
Opportunity to
Yes.
kind of grow and think and
Yes,
reflect.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think think is more importantly, even more so, because sometimes just a thought that you put in someone's mind could do wonders. That's what I felt, because there are times we unknowingly inspire so many people. And I would take that moment to say, Sanjana, you are inspiring. I have to tell you that. My personal experience from you, I would say that I would not have been comfortable,
See, that's what you're saying, right? Giving space to your family, you could see them growing, right?
Yes.
And they could think independently,
True.
which is so important in today's life.
Especially because nobody can be there for anyone at all the times,
all the time,
right?
yeah.
So you have to be your own, and you have to find that strength within.
Oh, that is very nice. Yeah. I think your kids would be so proud of you.
Thank you,
Thank you so
Sanjana.
much, Sula. It was great conversation, and I really, it's really good. I think learning thing from each of us. We can, the parenting style is, everybody is different, and we all think we do a good job.
Yes.
But we all can learn from each other.
That's
I think,
true.
because our kids are in this global environment and global citizens, right? So
Yeah, raising them right and just making sure that they can grow anywhere.
They can handle everything by themselves.
And I'm so glad that I have people like you around me. It's inspiring, right? When you see people talk about idols. I don't believe in idols, but I feel that women around us, or people around us, everyday people, are the people who make an impact in your life. Because somebody who is an idol, who is far away, you would learn only some aspects of their life, and that too in parts that they want to share. But the people whom you meet, talk to every day, they are the actual, and they are the people whom inspire you every day. I wouldn't feel any other corrections. I remember I had my parents to look up to for a really long time. Growing up at school, teachers were the one. I have learned so much from my adults around me growing up. Now, even now, as a friend, or even as, there would be things that I'm like, hey, why did I not think about it? Is that moment that comes to you? Hey, I could be a better person. Why don't I learn? It's just smaller things, very smaller details that you have to look, and you just make your life. More qualitative, and you get others' life
And
also.
I like when you said, like, there's no right, there's no black and white.
True.
It's like that's why we don't know. There's no right or wrong, right? Sometimes we just teach our kids to be like a sponge and observe and make the right decision.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much, Sula. That
Thank
was
you,
great
Sanjana.
conversation.
I really had a great
nice.
time
Yeah.
talking to you.
Really good. Yeah. So that was, I think I learned a lot from you today. That's awesome.
Thank you.
If you wanna talk about anything at all, then you know who to call. Just tell Sanjana. Tell Sanjana. Tell Sanjana. Tell Sanjana. Just tell Sanjana.